The following program is intended for mature audiences.
It was fiercely fought, but frightfully fought. Let's take that over again. Not even the wizardry of Fred Golitnikov, you bastard's name there. Men like Eyeshide and Bueller. You son of a bitch.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
You guys watching the Monday night game?
Yeah.
I'm not big on Detroit's road uniforms. I don't think they look good.
What looks bad from the little bit I've seen, and we've had this a lot in the Nike era, where you have they're not the socks, they're like the knee brace things, like those knee sleeves that are also blue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you look at the near defensive end for Detroit, the right defensive end. He has the blue pants with like these all blue socks, and it looks garbage.
Yeah. Oh, touchdown Lions.
Yeah.
They do have great pants for this, right, Mike?
They could wear gray pants on the road. They just choose not to.
I think that would look better.
The Giants are also wearing their white pants.
I don't think they wear the gray anymore. I think they've gone to the white full time now, haven't they?
I think they're still wearing the gray on the road, but the white is at home.
I'm pretty sure that they went to the white full time last year at home, which I don't know why God almighty, why would you do that? That home uniform of theirs was beautiful.
The Giants do have a great look, as much as I despise Eli Manning, but whatever.
Speaking of the Chargers, and I guess we could segue into Overcorrection Monday.
Can we please talk about the Chargers?
Was it 25,000?
I got to be honest, I'm surprised it was that much. I thought, okay, that's not terrible.
25,000 sold. Let's be clear about that. 25,000 sold.
Now, I only saw maybe two shots of the crowd because it wasn't a game I was really paying a lot of attention to, but the end zones looked like they were reasonably full.
Yeah, it did look better than the preseason games. I will say that it did look better, but still not, not a sellout in terms of tickets distributed, a sellout in terms of the amount of people in the building either. And it was really the whole week for the Chargers has been pretty glorious in their return to Los Angeles. Their debut, they lose on a field goal.
They didn't lose on a field goal. They botched a field goal.
Right.
Can I say that's just perfect Chargers? All right. Losing on a last-second botched field goal is just like Chargers football concentrated into a single play is a botched field goal with 0 seconds left.
They're doing exactly what they did last year. It's amazing.
I think I said last week on Twitter that this is peak Chargers, and nothing. The name may have changed, but it's the same team. And then this week, it just made so much sense.
You have no idea. This is why I have gotten to the point, right, where I'm like, where I know I can't just quit the Chargers just because they did a stupid thing, because I watched that game against the Broncos and I got so angry.
That means that you're still invested if you get mad.
I know.
Like, you can't get angry at that. That's just Chargers.
I just want it to stop.
That's how I knew the whole Packers transition thing. That's how I knew I was a full-fledged Packers fan, because I would get really upset. I watch the Browns, and I don't care what they do. It's like, whatever. Nice. Okay, you scored. Good for you. And the Packers, I'm deep in it. So, yeah, if you're still getting angry about the Chargers, you're not going anywhere. You might as well just get used to it and buckle in for the ride, man.
I think I scared my cat.
Well, and the best thing for the Chargers, too, so they lose on the field goal that they make with the timeout, and then they block it. In the Chargers' first regular season game in a soccer stadium, it felt poetic that they would lose on free kicks. They essentially lost on PKs to the Dolphins, where the Dolphins made theirs and the Chargers missed theirs. And when the Chargers missed their field goal, they still shot off the cannon.
Oh, no.
It was so good.
Oh, no.
At that point, Boltman just needs to go hang himself.
It was so perfect. Because you have that poor Korean kid who's like, he's boxed 2 game-winning field goals in a row.
Of course, he's a Chargers kicker. This is what happens when you do this.
then you're in your home debut. You're still trying to get the kinks out of how the game day operations work, and they shoot the cannon off when they lose. It was so perfect.
Not only we lost to the Jay Cutler led Dolphins.
Jay Cutler, I told you guys, good move for the Dolphins. He wasn't bad yesterday.
24 for 33, 230, one TD. QB rating 57.8.
That's better than a 0.7. I'm just saying.
That it is.
And get this, he smiled on the field yesterday.
Somebody said that, and I don't believe them.
I saw it happen. I was watching that game. He smiled, and the announcers talked about it.
Are you sure that he just didn't grimace when he got some sun in his eyes or something?
This was a legitimate Jay Cutler smile. I was there. I can confirm it. There were witnesses. People saw it. It was videotaped for posterity, and it actually happened.
It's hard to imagine a situation whereby you're angry at an infuriating loss even more so than the infuriating loss you were mad about the week before.
But that's a good sign. That means you're still invested in your team, and that's good. Imagine how good you're going to feel in, say, 5 to 7 years when they're back in San Diego.
It's just extra frustrating because it's like, okay, guys, let's all be real with each other. This move was a terrible mistake, but we're stuck with it. Let's try to make the best of it. And then they just go out and Charger the hardest they could ever Charger.
These first 2 weeks have been very Charger, and it's been very good.
I would go so far as to say they've been a little Clipper-esque, wouldn't you think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other. I remember. Yeah, last week when they lost like that, I said my tweet as soon as the Chargers missed that field goal was, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Football Clippers.
Yep,
they're here. They're clippering it up."
I know that we've brought it up before, but I cannot think of a dumber series of events for a professional sports franchise in my life.
I think we can say pretty clearly, we've had a lot of franchise moves that haven't worked in the long term, but this is probably the worst immediate franchise move I can think of.
Oh, yeah. Like when the original Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix, it's a disaster now. But for probably the first 5 years, there was the hope that, this could maybe work.
This could work. They were going to playoffs. They were selling out the arena. They were doing the whiteout. It was all fun. And they even got themselves a new arena out of it. It was, that, like I said, in long term, you could probably say Phoenix is probably the worst of them. Maybe even Carolina here pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got to put Carolina in that same conversation.
But in terms of immediacy, it's got to be this one.
Yeah, no team has just completely shat itself on a national stage. From day one with their logo unveiling, with the stupid LA monogram.
It was a dumb decision from the start because if you're going to do it, you should have done it first, and now you're second, and now no one cares. So no one cares. You're going to arrive here with an absolute, not even a deafening thud, because there's been no noise made except for the cannon shooting off when you lose. They haven't sold out a 27,000-seat stadium.
Well, and another thing the announcers brought up yesterday was that it was definitely a Miami crowd.
Yeah, and we said that too.
And Dolphins fans aren't exactly known as the most passionate, traveling fan base.
No, imagine when the Steelers or the Packers or some team with the Cowboys.
I'm so disappointed that the Raider game is week 17.
Think of it as the main event, Zach. We need to let this percolate before it erupts in one final glorious failure.
Well, hell, you thought the Dolphins were bad this week? They're playing the Chiefs this week.
Oh.
And Chiefs fans get around.
This thing has just been such a screwed up mess, and it's not going to get any better. They have no fans now. Where are they going to get the fans?
They're not.
Right. What do they expect is going to happen?
Bill Plaschke, in his column, he said that the environment reminded him of like a neutral site college bowl game. And then I thought back to actually watching the game. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. Because every time I see them playing in that stadium, it still feels like it's a gimmick. It's akin to the NHL playing outdoors.
Where does this improve? Because what you're looking at right now is Phillip Rivers is how old now? 35? Somewhere in there?
Yeah, 36, I think.
So you're looking at a quarterback change coming down the road here pretty soon. The point I'm getting to is that this team's going to get worse before it gets better. So you're going to have to endure a rebuild and everything else in a place where no one wants you. in a stadium they don't want you to be in. I just don't see how this works. I'm looking at it. I keep thinking I'm missing something. Maybe there's part of the plan I'm not picking up on. I don't know how anyone could have looked at this whole setup and said, this is a good idea. God bless you, Mike, for sticking with these guys. It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
But the anger and the frustration, that shows that you're still invested, and I guess that's a good thing, because somebody needs to be for those poor bastards.
Unfortunately, I'm not in the market and not buying tickets, so...
While we're here, let's get on to overreaction or overcorrection Tuesday, or Monday. So, I told you about those Dallas Cowboys, Zach.
The thing that was surprising to me in that game is that, well, I guess two things. One was the Cowboys seemed just so uncommitted to running the football, which is, just kind of counterintuitive to what they should be doing with the talent they have. And then the other thing was how good Trevor Siemian looked.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
By Siemian.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing with the Broncos. If you can get that kind of quarterback play out of him, that changes the whole complexion of that team, obviously. But because they still got a pretty solid defense.
Yeah.
And they've got some weapons on offense. I was floored. I would have never even bet that the Cowboys would go in there and lose, let alone like this. So, yeah, I'm right about the Cowboys, too.
I don't know if you're right about the Cowboys. They are still 1-1.
Dak Prescott didn't look so hot yesterday.
And that's the best defense they're going to play most of the year.
And on top of that, they still probably have enough to control this division. So
yeah, and even if you're right about the Cowboys, Greg, it means that we're all wrong about the Broncos. Like I don't think anybody could have expected them playing this well in the first two games of the season.
No, but they did this last year too. If you remember, they started out great last year too.
Yeah. Well, didn't they have injuries like late in the year with quarterbacks?
I don't remember. I think so. Yeah, I think they were. Who's the kid behind? Was it Paxton Lynch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at some point they had one of the.
Right.
I think one of the McCowns actually showed up for a week or so there. Not really, but it sure seemed like it.
Yeah. No, I remember Simeon got hurt, and then Paxton Lynch came in, and yeah.
Yeah, and I think C.J. Anderson got hurt too. The running game got beat up. So who knows? Maybe they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
What's our overreactions for this week, or overcorrections? So who were we right about or wrong about last week that we're right about now?
Obviously, the Rams are missing the playoffs. They're not winning the Super Bowl. Same with the Jaguars. Unfortunately, couldn't keep up that 10 sack a game pace.
Yeah, I think you might have.
Look at my Titans.
I think you might have overbought on Jacksonville, Greg.
I'm just glad my Titans got up off the mats. I don't remember saying anything about Jacksonville. I said if the defense.
No, we joked about them. But yeah.
I just want to say that the I didn't see the Carolina Buffalo game, but that just looks ugly.
Oh, I would watch bits and pieces of it. That was some of the worst football you're ever going to watch in your life.
Yeah, a stellar 9-3 contest.
Yeah,
if you want to take it in soccer goals, again, it's 3-1.
The Panthers are 2-0, but it's about the ugliest 2-0 I've ever seen. I mean, one of those games was against the 49ers, who played the Seattle Seahawks very tough yesterday.
Well, I think that's also the Seahawks just not being as good either.
Yeah.
Neither of those, the Niners still haven't scored a touchdown this season. The Seahawks hadn't scored a touchdown until late in the fourth quarter. And then they could have been ahead by 4, but they missed the extra point. So the Niners were still in that game late. They were only down by 3, of course. So
in terms of, I guess, overreaction in week 2, I'm just going to say the Bears are bad.
Oh, Bears are real bad.
The Bears are bad.
I thought maybe
$15 million a year for Mike Lennon just seems more hilarious each time they play. God.
I thought the Bears might be 5 or 6 wins good this year if everything went right for them, but now I think they're right back to where they were last year. But again, it's only 2 weeks, but they have not shown me much so far.
Well, overreaction Monday. Can we have 3 0-16 teams? Is that possible? Can Chicago, San Francisco, and the Jets, can they all go 0-16?
Well, you got to throw the Browns in there too. No, because the Browns and the Jets play each other.
The Bears and the 49ers play each other.
Okay.
The Bears also play the Browns.
Yeah, it would be tough.
I don't think the Browns are going to go 1-16.
Browns aren't going to go 1-16. They were okay again. The Ravens are much better. The Ravens are a team that was much better than I thought.
Yeah, see, I think week 2. I mean, obviously it's still early, but you can start to see that. Okay, the bad teams are probably going to be bad. I don't think we've missed on any of those so far. It's still not sure how good certain teams are, but you're starting to see. You can talk a little bit more about it without just sounding like you're overreacting like crazy. Like, I think we all agree that.
What happened to Minnesota?
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, they you know who started that game for them? Friggin' Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, yeah.
Oh God,
that's why they lost. Is because Sam Bradford, and then of course Mike Zimmer, the coach of the Vikings, asked after the game, like, well, it's a legitimate question. How's Sam Bradford? Is he going to be able to play next week? And he's like, Sam's fine. He might play this week. He might play next week. He might play in 5 weeks. He might play next season.
Is Teddy Bridgewater still out?
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Arizona and Indianapolis. That looks slightly better than the Buffalo-Carolina game.
Ever so slightly. That wasn't. I had to see a majority of that because my grandpa, he's a season ticket holder for the Cardinals, so he tapes the games. And I sat there and watched it with him, at least the second half. Oof.
We caught some flack on Twitter after our preview about saying that we were too hard on the Cardinals and they were better than we thought they were.
No.
I don't agree with that. It was
the only reason the Cardinals won this game is because they were playing the Colts.
Yeah.
And I'll say that I'm a Cardinals fan. I want to be happy about the Cardinals, but Carson Palmer is
he's got a dead arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not an indictment of him as a quarterback. He's just old.
Yeah, he's old and broken.
Over.
Yeah,
it's over.
He's old and broken, and the Cardinals have done nothing in the last 4 years to make a backup plan ready.
But of course,
their backup is still Drew Stanton.
Which, of course, is perfect Cardinals because they did this with Kurt Warner, too. When Warner came in, he had a career renaissance. For a couple of years, it was awesome. Oh, hey, Kurt's going to lead us to the promised land. And then they rode him until he was dead.
Right, and then they traded for Kevin Cobb, who turned into a pumpkin. And then
God, remember that guy? He was with the Eagles, right? And everybody, he was the backup quarterback of the time.
Hey, he got his money.
Yeah, he did.
I read a story about him. He's just hanging out in Arkansas now, just enjoying his time.
Oh, geez, with all that money he made, he's in Arkansas. That's like being a billionaire anywhere else.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
I bet he's just sitting like, can you believe those schmucks in Arizona pay me this much money?
I always wonder what guys like that think afterwards. Do they brag about their NFL career, or do they?
I'd just be like, hey.
Yeah, I played in the league. I got some money.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd get too carried away with the whole, I was an NFL quarterback, but I played a couple years and made a little bit of money. But I don't know if I'd get real fired up about it.
So teams that we can overreact to also, or I guess underreact because now it evens itself out. The Patriots are fine.
Yeah.
Don't shed a tear for any New England Patriots losses. They will be.
Well, I don't think anyone was really going to be like, it's finally over. Like, one bad game is. I
saw plenty of, Tom Brady looks like a 40-year-old man out there after week one, and now it's like, oh no, he's a 5-time Super Bowl champion.
What did he do for like 447 yesterday or something like that?
30 of 39, 447, 3 TDs.
Yeah.
So Tom's fine, basically.
Tom is fine.
Now, if you want to make the argument that as the season progresses, he may start to get a little more beat up and that may start taking a toll on him, I would entertain that argument. Mm-hmm. I also think that there's still going to be the class of that division, but I don't know that you're going to see like a 14-2 season out of these guys this year. I think that you're looking at more like 11-5, 10-6.
No, 10-6 is.
But 10-6 will win that division by 4 games.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Unless Jay Cutler really does unlock beast mode.
I'm telling you, man. When Jay Cutler smiled, I thought, boy, I'm going to look like a genius at the end of the season when my Miami Dolphins are marching out the field holding that Super Bowl trophy.
Jay Cutler was smiling because he knew what no one else knew.
What's that?
That his time had come.
Raiders looked really good yesterday, but they were playing the Jets.
Yeah, the Raiders look fine. Marshawn Lynch was having the time of his life, so that's good for him.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're a good team, that's what you got to do, though. You've got to go out and beat up on the Jets 45-20. That's how you prove you're good.
Yep. I thought the most interesting game really was Eagles-Chiefs.
Yeah.
That was a very, very even game, and when the Chiefs went ahead late, I thought the only thing I could think to myself was, oh, this is tailor-made for an Andy Reid screw-up, isn't it? He's going to do something, burn a timeout when he didn't need to, and give the Eagles this game. But
he's going to forget how clocks work.
Yeah, but credit to the Chiefs and this kid they brought in, Kareem Hunt.
Hunt, former Toledo Rocket. From my hometown of Toledo, Ohio. Yes, sir.
He's been great the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He kind of powered them, and Carson Wentz had another really good day.
I'm going to go back to what I said last week. I really wish I hadn't backed off these Eagles because now I'm really in overreaction mode with these guys. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Keep in mind that they were like 5-1 after 6 games last season, and then we all saw how that ended.
I know, but they look fine for now.
Also, if we could just go back to the New England-New Orleans game a bit, I wanted to get us up to date on the Adrian Peterson stat tracker.
Oh, sure.
Game week 2. He had 8 carries for 26 yards.
Oh, good.
So
that's a little over 3 yards a carry.
He's
3.2.
He's at 14 carries for 44 yards this season. His longest rush is 9 yards.
I don't understand why teams do that with these running backs. I mean, I get it's Adrian Peterson, and I understand that you get
Jersey
excited.
Sales, I suppose.
Maybe, but you've got to look at the fact that if he were still good, he'd still be in Minnesota. That's my thing with the running back. If the guy still had it, he wouldn't be available.
Hey, now, I will not have you bemoaning the glorious experiment that was Emmitt Smith on the Arizona Cardinals.
Point. I rest my case.
The problem with the Emmitt Smith versus the Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson's coming in there, and I think he knows that he's not the featured running back.
Right.
He's a complimentary guy. Whereas, like, when Emmitt Smith went to the Cardinals, he was still supposed to be the guy, and that's not the case.
I wonder what it is about running backs. So what is it about age 30 that makes all the difference? Because that seems to be the holy line of demarcation.
Yeah.
Once you pass that, it's over, no matter who you are.
More so than maybe any other position.
Yeah.
Besides maybe like an offensive line.
The only thing that I can think of is just because it's an incredibly physical position. So
right.
I don't know, but this still looks super weird.
Yeah.
But those are the uniforms they should be wearing, though.
Yeah.
Those always looked super weird because when he was at the Cowboys, it's blue, and it's red's like the polar opposite, and so for him to change colors like that just seems so.
Oh,
strange.
Here's a really weird picture. This is Emmitt Smith on the Cardinals, Jerry Rice on the Seahawks.
Ooh, right. Ew.
Look at that.
That ain't right. I don't like. There's a lot of things I didn't like about that. The biggest one I did not like, and I get it. He's Jerry Rice, but you were Steve Largent. I would have not let them unretire my number like that. And Jerry Rice shouldn't have asked them to do that. I've never liked that.
The thing about Jerry Rice is I think Jerry Rice is one of those players where you could say he had 2 legitimate teams because his stint on the Raiders wasn't a complete bust.
No.
So like he still produced, but everything after the Raiders is just.
Oh, he's definitely garbage. A guy that hung on a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, I think he was probably all in all the greatest football player I've ever seen. He was just that freaking good at his peak, man. Unbelievable. Like, you know how good Randy Moss was a few years ago, right, with the Patriots? Mm-hmm. He was like that, except better. Unbelievable. Who else what else happened yesterday? My Titans got up off the mats, like I said, 37-16 over the Jaguars. Are they going with those light blue jerseys? Is that their road look this year? Or their home look? No more of the dark? No more navy?
I think that's what I remember seeing somewhere.
That's too bad.
Although they have said they've gone on record saying that they're going to be getting new jerseys next season, and the changes are, quote, not minor.
Right. That's always what you want to hear.
So, like, it's just going to be bad.
Well, yeah. I'm trying to think of, okay, we saw what Nike thought Buccaneer numbers looked like. What are they going to think a Titans number looks like?
The numbers are just going to go all the way down the leg. They're just going to be full body numbers. You're going to go from the shoulder to the knee.
I laugh, but you're probably right.
To me, with Nike, the appeal has stopped being the uniform unveiling. Like, the actual designs are secondary to the Nike speak that justifies them.
I completely agree. My goodness,
Like, that's the main event.
That's some poetry when they do that stuff.
Like, it's got to the point where it's like, okay, those are the uniforms. I want to see the press release.
Right. Well, remember when we did the Lions unveiling? We were like digging around trying to find the press release because that's what we were interested in.
Mm-hmm.
The uniforms, I find whatever. Okay, yeah, blue and silver, good for you. What do you have to say about them? We couldn't find anything good.
I'm still floored about their explanation for the Cleveland Cavaliers logo. It's like the sword stands for defense and excellence. It's like, no, the team name is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Cavaliers had swords. So maybe a C with a sword was a good idea.
Yeah.
Just that's all it has to be, guys. That's all it ever has to be.
The Bucks. I thought the Bucks looked pretty good. I think we might be right about them. I think they're going to be a pretty good team. Of course, they're playing the Bears, so you got to always qualify it with that.
And you got to remember, with both the Dolphins and the Bucks, this was still their first game, so this is our first chance to overreact to them.
True.
Oh yeah.
True. Yeah.
True overreaction Monday for the Florida teams.
Yes.
Well, I think that Florida team, Super Bowl preview, it's going to be an all Florida Super Bowl. Bucks Dolphins.
And nothing says an all Florida Super Bowl like Minnesota.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be hysterical if that's how it actually worked out?
In the Church of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints are going to be very good. I think we were right about them.
No, Saints.
They'll win a couple games because they can score some points here and there, but that's not a good football team.
Rams Redskins. The Rams had their chances to keep in this game. Surprisingly, the defense looked worse this week. And, they got to tee off on the Colts last week, which was great. But the thing that really struck me about the Rams defense this week, they could not stop Washington on the ground very well.
Yeah, I heard.
Anytime it was 2nd and 15 or 3rd and 16, the Rams would give up the first down. They give up a lot of long yardage plays, which I wasn't really.
Will kill you every single time. You just can't do that. You got to get off the field on 3rd and long.
Got to get the team off the field. And then, of course, the Redskins go up 27-20 with 1:45 left. Jared Goff's first play is an interception after that. And it wasn't even like the Redskins made a great play or he made a bad read or something. Well, I guess it's kind of a bad read. He stared. You just look at him, and he was looking at his receiver from the time he got off the line to the time he made his break to the time he let go of the ball. Jared Goff didn't move his head once. He's just, I'm throwing to him. And the announcers did a good job of pointing that out several times where he didn't go through his reads. He would just determine, I'm throwing to this guy on this play. And,
that's
out.
A young quarterback mistake, yeah.
This is where Goff being somewhat of an idiot might be a problem.
Right. You would think that that's something that a quarterback can learn and be like, no, okay. Like, I guarantee all week the coaches should be on him like, this is what we saw in film. Look off your receivers. Like, I always thought that that's kind of like just something that quarterbacks do, that they look off receivers all the time. I
assumed it was like quarterback 101. Like, your first day as a little kid, they all right, this is how you do things.
Yeah.
You would think. I think with that game, what happened there, two teams that I thought were pretty evenly matched. Yeah. And Washington will always go on the road and win a game that they shouldn't. And that's what happened yesterday with the Rams.
And Washington was trying to not go 0-2, and they were very determined about that, they were saying. So that's good.
Hey, Kirk Cousins earning his money.
Yeah, he liked that. He liked that. So I've Fred Rogan, who's the local sports guy for NBC around here, total hack. I hate him. But he posted he didn't have the actual ratings numbers, but he ranked the football games that were on TV in Los Angeles over the weekend based on their ratings. Number one rated game in LA was Falcons-Packers, the Sunday night. Then Eagles-Chiefs, which we got in the morning. Then the third game was Rams-Redskins. Fourth was USC-Texas. And then 5 was Chargers-Dolphins.
Wait, are you telling me that USC-Texas didn't do as well in the ratings as Chiefs and Eagles?
Yeah, apparently so. NFL's king, man.
I guess. Wow.
Hey, more people watch the Pro Bowl than the World Series. So
Yeah, I know,
You
but
gotta have the thing with the USC game. There were 84,000 people in the Coliseum for the SC game.
yeah.
So they were all, anybody that was going to be watching the game was at it probably.
but still enough people watched it at home to beat the Chargers.
Yeah.
It was a good game. It was a really good
Oh.
game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there, but that's that. And then Falcons Packers, Greg. I mean,
You know what? The Packers are the exact same team they've been for the last 3 years. I don't know how else to put it. Aaron Rodgers is just a little bit older, not quite as good, and that's where we are.
What
and I think that the Falcons are still pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's something you can take away.
Yeah.
what you guys completely forgot, and to be fair, I forgot too. Houston, Cincinnati.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, right. Deshaun Watson made a cool play in that game, but that was the only highlight.
Oh, I'm curious. I got to look this up. Let's see if Andy Dalton improved on his QB rating. Guys, red letter day for the Cincinnati Bengals. Andy Dalton, 20 of 35, 244 yards, 0 TDs, but 0 interceptions for a QB rating of 29.1. I haven't done the math, but that's at least 200% improvement, at least.
And
Yeah.
here's the other thing to take note of that game, because Andy Dalton was the leading passer in that game with 224. Deshaun Watson was the leading rusher, 5 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown. But that touchdown was 49 yards. So he basically needed the 1 carry to be the leading rusher in the entire game.
Yeah.
Score the lone touchdown of the game.
I think the Bengals are going to be really bad this year.
Yeah. By the way, so that was Thursday night, Texans-Bengals. Thursday night is just going to be on a tear of games. So the next one is Rams-49ers. Get ready for that. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network.
Mm-hmm. Yippee.
Aren't you glad the NFL is trying to saturate every moment of our lives?
A little college football.
College.
Wow, where do we want to start with that? My Ohio State Buckeyes went out and beat up on the Army, which I never know how to feel about that. It's hard to root against the Service Academy.
It's a weird position, isn't it?
Yeah. I just didn't watch it. I thought, I'm just not going to watch because I figure they're either going to win
Yeah.
and it'll be boring, and it was 38-7, or they're going to lose, and I don't want to see that either.
Hey, Auburn bounced back and beat Mercer. Take that, Mercer.
I love you, SBC.
Take that, Mercer.
We'll go through the ones that don't matter really quick, and there's really only a few games of any consequence. Alabama's still the number 1 team in the land, 45 first place votes. Didn't destroy Colorado State, but beat them handily, 41-23. Good for them, I guess.
Hey, that's not bad for Colorado State. The Rams hanging tough.
Yeah. One of those games of consequence, though, is your new number 2 team in the land, the reigning national champion Clemson Tigers. They get 15 of the first place votes in the AP poll for beating number 14 Louisville 47-21.
Man, they whipped Louisville's ass. It was pretty ugly.
And I mean, we had all kind of called maybe this is the game they lose. And LeVar Jackson still had a pretty good day, 317, 3 TDs passing. But besides that, that's all Louisville had.
Yeah.
They didn't allow him to run around. And the Clemson offense is still there. So I think any doubts that we might have had about Clemson, they're probably still a national contender.
When you lose Deshaun Watson and all that, you got to think they're going to take a step back. But
yeah,
if the program has achieved elite status, they should be able to plug a new guy in there and still be okay. And it looks like they've done that. Yeah, I don't remember. Did we talk about this game? I think we all figured Clemson would probably win, right? I don't remember.
I think I had picked Louisville.
You know, now that you mentioned it, I think I went on the record and said I'm going to take Louisville on this one, so we were both wrong.
Yeah. I was pretty sure. I just thought Clemson was primed for a Clemsoning after they finally win the national title. They lose all these guys. They're going to get ranked high, and then this is the game they're going to lose, but not even close. They kicked the hell out of Louisville.
Yeah, it was a thorough ass kicking for sure.
The new number 3 team, they moved down a spot, is Oklahoma. They still get a first place vote from someone.
Whoever the Oklahoma writer is, or are we talking coaches poll?
This is AP.
Yeah, somebody, a writer in Oklahoma.
The Oklahoma City shopper.
The Norman shopper, yeah.
They beat the hell out of Tulane, 56-14. Good for you, I guess.
Yeah.
Same thing with Penn State. They move up one spot after shutting out Georgia State 56-0.
Georgia State, for Pete's sake.
Penn State goes on the road at Iowa next week. Maybe? Maybe?
I don't know. I don't know if the Hawkeyes have enough for Penn State this year or not. It'll be interesting to see.
Moving down one spot because their game was a little bit too tight, but it was probably the game of the weekend. USC, Texas. USC is now number 5 in the country after, on paper, this game should not be as close as it was. There was all the hype going into it. The 11-year grudge match, USC looking to get revenge, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that was just a lot of window dressing, that we weren't actually going to get a pretty good game. I don't know if it was USC. USC did have an off day, but Texas played up.
I think Texas is a little bit. I think we went going way back to the college preview. I think that Texas might not be half bad this year.
Well, they're still 1-2.
I know, but that doesn't mean they're a terrible team. They lost to who they lose to in their first week.
Maryland they dropped.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Disregard. Remember you were telling me that Maryland should never be able to go into Texas and beat Texas?
Yeah, never mind. I disregard. Texas isn't very good. I don't know what the hell happened here. I do know that if they'd had something besides a true freshman at quarterback, they'd probably win this game.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And you win in a double overtime, and a walk-on freshman kicker from Modern Day High School, who I saw this kid in high school. He kicked the football damn near out of every stadium I saw him in. I don't know how he was only a walk-on at SC, but
I don't think a lot of schools don't waste a scholarship on a kicker. I've heard they just don't. And
maybe this earns them a scholarship.
I mean, we know at Alabama they don't waste scholarships on kickers because look at all the problems they've had over the years. Nick Saban just doesn't give it any thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, USC, this was a really good game. It was, I think Texas had, when they got the lead late, the spotlight hit them and they kind of went, oh shit, we might actually do this. And they melted a little bit and USC drove down. I'll say this though, that jump pass that Sam Darnold made to whoever the wide receiver was, that was pretty. That was a really nice play. That
was key play. Basically Tim Tebow with the run line, jump up, and throw it 21 yards downfield.
Yeah, but good game.
Cool. Yeah, Sam Darnold, another great game too. 397, 3 TDs.
And great looking uniform matchup.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see how the Jets screw this kid up. Poor kid. I really feel for the guy. I want him to succeed because he's a local kid from down here and went to SC, and I want him to do well, but let's see. Your new number 6 is the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
I like this Cowboy team. I'm telling you, man. Watch these guys.
They beat Pittsburgh 59-21.
My poor Pitt Panthers.
They open up Big 12 play this week against TCU, who had to, I watched TCU's game with SMU, the battle for the iron skillets.
As opposed to the plastic skillet?
It was iron, yeah.
Okay. Aren't most skillets iron? I'm just saying.
I don't know. 56-36 was that game. TCU's now number 16. They move up 4 spots. If TCU wants to get in a shootout with Oklahoma State, be my guest. But I thought TCU also had a lot of misplays in that game, and I would still say Oklahoma State will win that one. And
does anybody remember when TCU was known for their defense? That was actually that's true. They were known for their defense. What a good defense they were.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, not anymore.
So we'll see how that plays out. But to have Oklahoma State at number 6 and Oklahoma at 3, we may just get a playoff team out of that Big 12.
I like Oklahoma State. I called them to make the playoff all the way back at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to be really good. I don't know why. I just think they're going to be a really good team this year.
The thing that throws the wrench into it is having Penn State still up there, but I think Penn State will lose to Michigan or Ohio State somewhere down the line.
One of the two will take them down, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Penn State is doing much better than I anticipated, and good for them, but I don't see them being a team that makes it through this all unscathed.
I think they're a little bit of a mirage. They're a good team, but I don't see them as, what are they ranked 5 right now?
4.
4? No.
Like if we had the playoff end today, it would be Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Penn State.
Yeah, do you see Penn State beating any of those 3 teams?
Well, Penn State would be playing Alabama.
Yeah.
So if anybody has that schadenfreude of wanting to see Penn State get its comeuppance,
that would be the way to do it.
The Terminator that is Nick Saban.
Yes.
Kills all joy.
You ever wonder how he stays interested at this point? I do. I think, what's he got to do? What's left?
He's just a maniac, man.
If it were me, I would have left and gone somewhere else to see if I could do it again. Then again,
he wanted to go to the NFL for a minute, but he didn't like how much less control he had.
Yeah.
So I think the only place he could have gone besides Alabama that would matter would have been Texas.
Yeah, that would have been a really interesting move if he had gone there. That would have been something.
And I think he had the opportunity before they hired Charlie Strong, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember us talking about it on the old football show that there was talk of him going to Texas, which would have been wow. I don't think he's not a USC type guy. He would have no reason to come here. No.
And I could see him going to Texas. That would have been the play. Maybe he goes to Florida and fixes them.
See, I would go to Bowling Green and see if I can do it there.
God.
Where did he start?
Mercer. Nick Saban's going to go to Mercer and turn him into a national power.
Didn't he start off at Kent State?
He was at Toledo.
Toledo,
yeah.
Go back to Rockets. See if he can get a championship out of the Glass Bowl.
That's how you knew the guy was going to be a good coach. I remember when he coached at Toledo, and he took that team and turned it around pretty quickly. And then, I don't know if I'm going to have the chronology right here, but he was also the defensive coordinator for the Browns for 2 years, and that was when they went 11-5 in '94 and made the playoffs. Then he went
Belichick.
With Belichick, and then he went somewhere. It's like everywhere he's gone, he's been very successful. Nick Saban.
Michigan State.
Yeah, he was at Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty good when he was there. He could never quite get over the hump, but that's a tough place to recruit when you got Michigan and you got a lot of people. Ohio State recruits heavily up there, Illinois, all the big schools, Wisconsin. So it's a tough gig, Michigan State. But he did pretty well there. And then LSU, right? Then he went to LSU.
Then won a national title.
Won a national title there. Then he went to Alabama and turned into the Terminator.
Well, then he went to the Dolphins, and then he went to Alabama.
Yeah.
And the thing that's so funny is the reason he left the NFL is because Drew Brees didn't want to sign with the Dolphins. He didn't get his quarterback, so he said, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyway, your new number 7 team, they moved down a spot as Oklahoma State jumped a few teams there, is the Washington Huskies. They beat the hell out of Fresno State. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I like Washington, too. I think they're a little bit better than we think they are.
Michigan moves down a spot. They played Air Force, and I watched a good chunk of that game, too. Man, Michigan is a paper tiger.
They are. I know everybody thinks I'm just saying that because I'm an Ohio State fan, but it's true.
The defense is okay. The offense is bad.
Yeah.
The offense is very, very bad. Cannot move the ball. And when you got Air Force moving in chunks on the ground against you, the only reason Air Force just basically couldn't, hold it up for the entire game. But if Michigan was playing that same game against anybody else, they would have lost on Saturday.
Yeah, they're not they're a bad team, but they're not upper echelon good. I just don't think they are. And people love Jim Harbaugh, but I'm telling you, man, after 3, 4, 5 years, the magic goes away, and he's just a lunatic at that point.
Yeah. 9 is Wisconsin. They beat the crap out of BYU.
Yeah, BYU's not very good this year. They're usually pretty competitive, but not this year.
Why did Ohio State drop 2 spots for beating Army?
Because they beat Army. You can't root against the service academies. It's just not right.
I guess so. I don't know. That was a weird one to me. Let's see. Georgia wins
over Samford. There's another place Nick Saban could go. Samford.
Yeah.
The Samford Bulldogs, I'm guessing, looking at the logo here.
One of the big games that we did lose over the weekend, it was going to be number 12 Florida State and number 17 Miami. They didn't play because of, still recovering from Hurricane Irma. That will be played, I think they said October 7th is when they moved that game to. So that'll be interesting. Virginia Tech wins. Miami didn't play. Auburn, yeah. So Auburn did beat Mercer, but 24-10. Come on, Auburn.
Come on, Mike.
Five turnovers too.
That's not very SEC of you. Auburn.
Yeah, and against a good team, 5 turnovers, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Was not a pretty game.
already mentioned TCU. The surprise was, or a surprise, Mississippi State. They knock off LSU 37-7, not even close.
Wow.
LSU was 12. They dropped 13 spots to 25.
Yeah, deservedly so, I would say.
But Mississippi State, I thought they were going to be pretty down. They're 3-0. They beat an LSU team I thought was going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And beat the hell out of that LSU team. So good on you, Bulldogs.
Yeah, look out, huh? And great uniforms, both teams.
Yeah.
Good looking game.
Also moving up the rankings, your Washington State Cougs. They beat
Cougars.
Oregon State 52-23. Louisville drops 5 spots. Florida. I saw the end of this. Did you see the end of this Florida-Tennessee game?
No, but I heard about it.
Oh my! So I'm sitting there watching it, and I see Tennessee tie it at 20-20, and I'm thinking, and if Florida gets the ball, they are just so disinterested in trying to move the ball quickly. I was like, okay, so they're playing for overtime, right? They're like they don't know how to use their timeouts. They think they get a first down, but they don't. So the clock's still running. They try to run a play. It's such a mess. And then there's like 6 seconds left, and it's just like, okay. You know, they'll just run the ball here, and we'll go to OT, and we'll see what happens. And then they pull back and launch one. I think it was a 47-yard Hail Mary, or no, 60-something yard Hail Mary to beat Tennessee, 26-20. And the funniest thing too was watching the game. Tennessee was down early. They did their Tennessee thing as they do. They're down early. They come back, and I said, "Oh, okay. Well, Tennessee's going to pull this one out, probably in overtime." Nope. Florida pulled the rug out from under Tennessee's. Didn't Tennessee do this to Georgia last year, where they had this big comeback and then Georgia threw a Hail Mary against them?
I don't remember, but this is so totally Tennessee. I mean, they're. I don't know what their deal is, and Florida is just. I think there are probably Tennessee Vols fans that have nightmares about the Florida Gators over the years. I mean, when Peyton Manning was there, he never beat them. I think he lost all 4 times that they played him. And then the next year, some guy named T. Martin finally beats Florida, and they go on to win a national championship after Manning had moved along. But that's always a good rivalry if both teams are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida also the Michigan of the South. That offense is. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, we knew that going in, that if for them to be any good at all, they had to have some sort of offense, and they just don't.
Yeah. Mike, your adopted South Florida Bulls, number 21, 3-0.
Yeah, I watched them play a little bit, Mike. That's a good ball club. You should go see them.
Yeah, maybe. Probably pretty cheap to get tickets.
Yeah, I think they play it at the Bucs Stadium too. I'm pretty sure
they do. Yes.
Yeah. Why not? Right?
Yeah. Why not? Go Bulls!
Jumping into the to number 22, the lone tenant of Qualcomm Stadium, the San Diego State Aztecs. They knocked off Stanford at home.
Yes.
Who's just not Stanford anymore right now.
No.
They lost 20-17. Big win for the Aztecs, up at the top 25.
Yeah. Well, remember, they were pretty good last year, too, remember? They were pretty solid.
They had the top rusher in college football last year. I'm pretty sure he graduated, but I still think they have the top-rated rushing game in the NCAA right now.
What they need to do, they need to resurrect the collegiate career of Marshall Faulk and just go all the way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the most important game of the week, my Toledo Rockets, showing defensive prowess like we haven't seen in years there, beats Tulsa 54-51. The Rockets should move to the Big 12.
Let's see. Well, so San Diego State jumps in, Utah jumps in, Oregon jumps in. The teams that dropped out, we mentioned Stanford, we mentioned Tennessee. Kansas State was 18, and they lost. Who did Kansas State lose to? Vanderbilt. Kansas State went on the road and played Vandy and lost.
Wow. Look at the Commodores go, huh?
Hey, the Commodores are 3-0, man.
Look out. Great point average and a few wins. Yeah.
That's a SEC power. They're mixing. They finally found a way to mix the athleticism with the intelligence. So now they're going to be unstoppable.
They're just not thinking, and they're putting together these like geometry plays and stuff that just confuses the hell out of the Kansas State guys. That's what's going on here.
Finally,
they scienced them to death.
Finally, their record matches their GPA.
Right. Now they need one more win for that, then they'll be there probably.
Have you seen Vandy's helmets? They've changed them.
So no, they don't have the. Let's see.
Star.
They used to have the Black Star, right?
It's their gold helmets with the gold star and the V in it, but the stripe is a chain that leads to an anchor on the back of the helmet.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
There's a good shot of it. Yeah, that is kind of weird. I liked it, the old Black Star with the white V in the middle of it. I like that better.
Yeah, and the last thing we have to talk about, last week's number 25 team, Greg. UCLA football's back.
Yeah, look out!
They lost to Memphis on the road, 48-45. Oh, so funny. So UCLA cracks me up. Like they win these first two games. The legend of Josh Rosen, who threw for 463 and 4 TDs in this game, so good for him.
Doesn't matter. They still lost.
The defense forgot to get on the plane for UCLA, and they lost to Memphis, who was trying to look like the Bengals, but in blue and white, and it looked a little bad.
Oh, no, really?
They basically, think of what the Bengals uniforms look like now, but blue with white tiger stripes.
Same on the helmets, too?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't want to do that. No.
Hey, it's a good luck look. They beat the vaunted UCLA Bruins.
Those Bruins. I almost texted you, Zach, but I didn't find out about that until like 1:30 in the morning. I thought it was probably a little too late.
It was pretty glorious. I watched the last few plays of that one. I was quite pleased. And people all making the excuse, oh, well, UCLA they traveled east and it was 9 a.m. on their body clocks and wham.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Like, look, you're UCLA, you're ranked, you got one of the best quarterback prospects in the country. You can't go on the road to fucking Memphis and lose.
No.
Like, come on.
There's no excuse for that. Unless the Memphis Tigers just happen to be really good this year, which they might. Well, I don't think they're going to be that good.
They're 2-0.
Yeah.
Who did Memphis beat in week 1? I don't know.
Probably Elon or Mercer or somebody.
Louisiana Monroe.
Which one are they? Are they the Raging Cajuns or the Fighting Yahoos or something?
Warhawks.
All right. I like the Fighting Wahoos better myself. And on that note, we're going to call it a night. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. And find us on the Facebook. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Adios. Ram it.